Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back to the eastern wing of the Stinkbug Works. This morning, I received a letter from Dr. Oliver Seiss. Now, for those of you who don't know who he is the head of H&M Hydro and Marine, and they make model boat hulls, and they're in Germany. Well, I had ordered a hull from him, quite some time ago. And, all these builders, they don't stock these hulls. They can't afford to, have 17 of these in stock hoping there's 17 buyers. When somebody calls up and makes an order, they build it. They pull out the molds and they lay up the material and they build it. So I expected it to take a while for Oliver to build this thing. And I got a note from him saying that it has shipped. But herein lies the problem. He had to bend over backwards and go through contortions and do this and do that and such that, well, I don't think he's going to make a habit of doing it. Let's just say that. So to that end, I would send everybody to him and say, buy his boats. But if you're here in the United States, shipping from Germany is expensive. Now, I did some online research. There are other shipping agencies available to the German public. And one of them is a freight forwarder. And one of them goes by air, and one of them goes by land, and one of them goes by sea. And they go by the pound. But again, you still face the same obstacle. It's just that it's cheaper to face this obstacle. And the obstacle is, I hate to say it, U.S. Customs. Now, I'm not going to say anything political one way or the other about Donald Trump. Suffice it to say, I have my opinions of him, and I am quite steadfast in them. So anyway, the Trump tariffs are impacting packages coming from Germany, and I don't know to what extent. Oliver tells me that it's double or triple the shipping price. And the shipping price was not cheap to begin with. And I used to double up items just so I could spread the shipping. And he would charge this much shipping up to this dollar amount. So I'd try to get real close to that dollar amount, just to amortize the shipping across as many items as possible. So for those of you looking to buy Oliver's stuff, just be forewarned that shipping may be a problem, and in all cases, ask Oliver first. He's a hell of a nice guy. He will respond to you within, a day or two. So much for that. I was planning on putting this in the project that Oliver is sending, but I noticed a problem on this, and quite frankly, I had this problem on another boat using this same motor mount, and that was the American Dream. And what I did is I eventually flipped this mount, but I can't just flip it because this side is beveled to match this. And if I put the motor in from this side and flip this around, this will now have a different bevel than this. They will be opposing. This bevel will be going this way. And what I did with the other one is I just gave it a ride on the belt sander. Here you go. You take this angle and you leave this edge right here and you grind it through these holes and to where this is getting really thin right here. It's getting really thin right there. And you grind that off and bingo, you have a new angle. And then this is on this side. Why? Why do I want it on that side? It's a matter of space. In this case, the motor wants to be close to something here and not so close to something here. So this one is right coming out of the box. And in fact, I like this one in that this leg is tucked up close, so there's not a whole lot of air between the outside of the motor and the inside of whatever it is you're looking at. This one has a lot of air, and yeah, you can run wires through that air, but it still shifts the motor that way too far. So, you know what? If some of you are really clever, you'll know what I have in mind. Anyway, the Miss Seattle arrives this afternoon between 2:30 and 4:30 local time. And I've pretty much settled on this rudder for one primary reason. It has a breakaway. The other rudder didn't. Now this one has a nylon screw in it right now. It came with a brass screw. And with something as light as the Miss Seattle, that brass screw might as well be, solid titanium. So, if you're going to run these rudders, here's a little tip. Go out and buy a bag of the right size screws on eBay. They're like $3, Don't complain that, I don't have a 2mm screw, nylon screw. You get 50 of them for, $3.25. So if you buy rudders like this, go on eBay. In fact, any old rudder, go on eBay and buy the right screw. It's $3, $4. It could be as much as $5 for a whole bunch of big ones, But it'll save you time and trouble later on down the line. So I'm going to settle on this rudder because it breaks away. It has no water pickup. The Miss Seattle has a plastic tube that picks up water from behind one of the front sponsons. I think I'm going to forego that in favor of a blast pickup in the back. So there'll be some filling of holes and such. And I think I know what the weakest point in that hull might be, and that will be the first thing we look at when it arrives. Is this a weak point? And if so, I've seen this weak point in many similar hydroplanes, and I have a plan of attack how to resolve that weak point. So until tomorrow, boys and girls, when we take a deeper look into the Miss Seattle build, this will be the first time you've ever seen me take an RTR production boat and have it jetted. I've never jetted a production boat that I can think of. As I'm thinking back, have I ever hot rod? Yeah, I did. I did on the Key West. That was a production boat, but you know what? That was a kit boat. When you got to glue the top and bottom of the hull together, that's a kit boat. Until next time, boys and girls, jet out. Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back. There's one important detail I neglected to include in the previous video, and that is you got 10 days. 10 days Only 10 days to get your entry in to win that outrigger or the 3D printed boat ready to run. I think it's even got a receiver in it. All you need to do is add a transmitter and batteries. There's another special prize, and there's another special prize. So, although the last special prize is kind of, I wouldn't put it in the water prize. It's a prize you can make look pretty and put on your shelf. Anyway, 10 days. You've got 10 days. All you have to do is set 2 buoys or reasonable facsimiles. You know, they could be marks on the shore, 100 feet apart, and do 15 figure eights. Okay? And you start the clock somewhere, and you end the clock at the same spot. Easy enough. Easy enough. I'm going to give links to videos of the hydroplane running, and I think I have a video of the 3D printed boat running, but it had a balance issue or something. I don't recall what it was. Anyhow, until next time, boys and girls, jet out.